This video is going to cover Chapter 12, which is the nervous system, Objective 2. Objective 2 talks about the major divisions of the nervous system. So you see here in the image on the right, the two major divisions are the central nervous system, which is made up of the brain and spinal cord, and then the peripheral nervous system, which is the other major division, is made up of nerves. Now those nerves include the nerves that come off the underside of the brain, called the cranial nerves, and the nerves that come off the spinal cord, which are the spinal nerves. So we're going to take a look at this handout real quick. This is one of the handouts that you have in your packet. So I'm going to go ahead and end the show right there, and let's take a look at that handout, and let's just kind of fill it out together. This is one of those handouts. You can see that it's over Chapter 12, Part 1, Objective 2. This is one of those handouts where you really ought to be able to basically redraw the flow chart from scratch to be prepared for the test. So that way you're ready for any kind of question about this that I could ask you on the test. This is going to come back. We're going to talk about this flow chart again when we get to Chapter 10. We're going to talk about it when we get to Chapter 13. We're going to talk about it when we get to Chapter 15. So this flow chart isn't going anywhere. So definitely put this in we're going to keep this pile. So let's take a look at the nervous system. The nervous system is divided into two main systems. This one over here, which is made up of the brain and spinal cord, this is the central nervous system. And I'm going to call that the CNS. That way we don't have to keep writing out central nervous system. Now the other division of the nervous system is the peripheral nervous system. And it's made up of those peripheral nerves, the ones coming off the brain called cranial nerves, and the ones coming off the spine called spinal nerves. And I'm going to abbreviate peripheral nervous system PNS. Something I want you to notice about these two divisions here is take a look at what's happening right here. That's what you would call like a double-sided arrow. They use that a lot in chemistry classes. So it's not that the central nervous system is only talking to the peripheral, or the peripheral is only talking to the central. It's that these two divisions are talking to each other. This is not a one-directional flow of information. We have information going from peripheral to central, and then from central back to peripheral again. So there's a lot of back and forth of communication between these two systems. Now, as far as the central nervous system, that's pretty much all we're going to talk about. When we get down to the peripheral nervous system, however, that system can be further subdivided into this one right here. Notice it's composed of sensory neurons. So we're going to call this the sensory division. It's also called the afferent division, because it is taking information to the central nervous system. So anytime things are going towards something, you're going to use the afferent word, okay? Now, the sensory division is made up of what kind of neurons? Well, it's made up of a certain kind of neuron called a sensory neuron. So pretty easy to remember. You also have the other division off of the peripheral nervous system. So again, it's divided into the sensory division and into, if you kind of look here at the name of the neurons that make it up, it kind of gives you a clue what the name is. This is the motor division. Now, the motor division is also called the efferent division. Notice it is taking information from the central nervous system. So anytime you have efferent, that means away from. So what is it away from? It's away from the central nervous system. So let's just kind of look and see how this information is going to flow, the order of events that would occur now that we've kind of named these. So if you think about negative feedback, okay, you've got information that's coming in through your skin. It's going along those sensory neurons to the brain for processing. The brain decides what to do with the information, sends out a response by way of the motor neuron to the effectors. So that's pretty much describing what we've got here. I'm going to put a 1 here because we're kind of going to start with that sensory division. So information is going to go from the sensory division through the peripheral nervous system to the brain and spinal cord for processing. Now, the brain and spinal cord is going to figure out what to do with this incoming information. So, for example, if you were feeling, if your body temperature was too high, and I know I keep using body temperature as an example, but that's because it's one we pretty much are okay with. So if body temperature is too high, those receptors are going to be detected in the skin. That's going to send, by way of sensory neurons, to the central nervous system, and the brain is going to obtain that information. Now it has it, and it says, oh, the sensory division is telling me that the temperature of the skin is too hot. Well, how we can fix that is we're going to tell the sweat glands to start making sweat. So the brain comes up with what to do with how to fix the problem, and it's going to send information out and it's going to go to the motor division, or it's going to go through the motor division by way of those motor neurons to the effectors. Now, effectors, what are they? Effectors are going to be skeletal muscle. That's voluntary. Cardiac muscle, that's found in the heart, that's involuntary. Smooth muscle, that's found a lot in your digestive system. We'll leave it at that for now. That's also involuntary. And glands, such as sweat glands. So that information, body temperature is too hot, is going to come into the brain by way of those sensory neurons. The brain is going to figure out what to do with it. It's going to send out a response by way of the motor division through those motor neurons, and it's going to target the sweat glands, telling the sweat glands to make sweat. It's also going to target the smooth muscle that's around those blood vessels. That's going to tell those blood vessels to dilate, to get bigger, to start offloading some of that heat. Okay, so now that we kind of understand how this works a little bit, now let's take a look at the divisions of the motor division. So yeah, believe it or not, the motor division is then subdivided into 2 divisions. So you can kind of catch these key words here. The involuntary responses, this is going to be the autonomic division. And the voluntary responses, that's going to be called the somatic division. So what we did here is we took these effectors and split them up into voluntary and involuntary. If it was involuntary, autonomic division, this is going to include those effectors such as cardiac muscle, smooth muscle, and glands. And if you're targeting voluntary effectors, that's going to be your skeletal muscle. So it depends on where that signal is going. So for instance, if it was targeting the involuntary sweat glands, it would be going by way of the autonomic division. If it was targeting, let's say, the muscles in your hand to let go of something hot, then it would be targeting skeletal muscle. So it would be going down the somatic division. So it just depends on whether it's voluntary or involuntary, and it's going to be split up accordingly. Now, the next division, so we're going to leave somatic division alone. That's pretty much the end of the somatic division. The next thing we're going to take a look at are the 2 divisions of the autonomic division. This autonomic division can then be divided up into 2 divisions. This first one, which is part of your fight or flight response, gets you ready for action. This is called the sympathetic division. And this, again, is getting you ready to move. It's getting you ready for physical activity. Fight or flight. So I'm going to put a little plus sign here, because as far as if we were to use the heart as an example, notice this is involuntary, so I can use heart muscle as an example. If the sympathetic system was engaged, it's going to, for example, speed up the heart, right? Now, the other division off the autonomic division is going to be the rest and digest. It's going to slow the body back down to normal. This is called the parasympathetic division. So if we were talking about it in terms of the heart, it's going to slow the heart down. It puts you in rest and digest mode. So think about it this way. If you're driving a car, your car has a gas pedal and a brake pedal. You have a way to speed the car up, you have a way to slow the car down. Well, your autonomic division is going to be the same. You've got to have, this is all involuntary, right? So you've got to have a way to speed the body up and get you ready and engaged for physical activity. But you can't live in that zone forever. You've got to be able to slow everything back down again and bring you back to normal, and that's your parasympathetic division. If you want to try to remember it this way, if you jump out of an airplane, what slows you down? A parachute. Well, parasympathetic division slows you down. So if you want to do a little word association there to help you remember that, that would be fine too. Now let's talk a little bit about the sympathetic and the parasympathetic division. So we have to have a way to let the heart know when it's time to speed up and when it's time to slow down. So we're going to use neurotransmitters to do that. Okay, so remember the neuron, when you get to the axon terminal, if you guys remember from chapter 4, tissues, the axon terminal at the very, very end, its job was to convert that electrical signal or action potential to a chemical signal, to a neurotransmitter that's going to go across the space and bind to the next cell, in this case, the heart. So what is the neurotransmitter that the sympathetic division would secrete from those axon terminals to tell the heart to speed up? The neurotransmitter, you've heard of this. This is adrenaline. You guys have probably heard of adrenaline before. It speeds everything up. Now, another name for adrenaline, it's also known as epinephrine. And that's abbreviated capital E, capital P, capital I. Okay? Sorry for the double set of parentheses there. Okay. Now, if adrenaline is going to be present, and when it binds to the heart muscle knows it's supposed to speed up, what would be the neurotransmitter that would bind to the heart to let the heart know it's time to slow down? Well, it's not going to be adrenaline or epinephrine. It's going to be one you may have never heard of before. Acetylcholine. acetylcholine. And that's abbreviated capital A, capital C, lowercase h. So when acetylcholine is present, that's going to let the heart know it's time to slow down. So again, you really need to know this flow chart backwards and forwards. I put the information in the boxes, or I left the information in the boxes just to kind of help you fill the chart out, but you're not going to have that information on boxes on the test. So those keywords aren't going to be there. You're going to have to know those. So make sure you know that paper there and can redraw it, honestly, backwards and forwards. Okay, now let's go back to the content here. This is the filled out piece. Okay, so this has got it all filled out if you needed to go back and take a look at that. So question number 1 on the in-class questions, or question number 2, I'm sorry, on the in-class questions. I'll give you a second to take a look at this. Central nervous system is composed of the brain and spinal cord, so this would be letter B. Next question, I'll give you a second to take a look at this. The peripheral nervous system is composed of the cranial nerves, which are these right here. Those are your cranial nerves. And the spinal nerves, that's going to be all of these right here, all those yellow things coming off the spinal cord. So the answer would be D. I'll give you a second to read this question. The two divisions that make up the nervous system are the central nervous system, which is represented in purple, that's the brain and spinal cord, and the peripheral nervous system, which is representing those cranial nerves and peripheral nerves, spinal nerves. Letter C. There's an absolutely excellent review available, and you've got the handout in your packet there. So you don't have to print it off or anything, it's already printed off for you, and it will allow you to follow this video that Armando Vasudigan made over the divisions of the nervous system, what we just talked about. So if you need to see it again a different way, it's a pretty good little video, and here's the handout that goes along with it. And then the next section will be Objective 3, so stay tuned for another video over Objective 3A.